Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marla. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist and homeopathic practitioner, and today I want to talk about how to be healthy, what diet to follow. If you are researching or on social media, you are going to see some people say things like you need to be keto, and then others are saying no, you need to be grain-free because too many fats is not good, and then other people are saying no, you need to be vegan because animal proteins aren't good. And then you'll see more people say, no, you need to be on a carnivore diet because grains and fruit and everything else is not good. And then you'll see some people saying, no, you need to be completely avoiding beans because lectins aren't good. And the list just goes on, and it can get so confusing on how we're actually supposed to eat. There are diets, hundreds of different diets you could follow. There's keto, and there's paleo, and there's Whole30, and there's GAPS diet, and plant-based, and vegan, and carnivore, and the list goes on. And so how do we truly know how we're supposed to eat for our health? What do we do? Who do we follow? Where do we go from here? So that's what I want to be talking about today. I can't tell you, just a little quick backstory. When I had major psoriasis and IBS and PCOS and my thyroid issues and everything else going on, I can't tell you how many different diets I tried. I flip-flopped from one diet to the next. It started off as me eating horribly my whole life to then switching to completely vegan because I was told, through research that animal meats are bad, animal products are bad, just go vegan and have a healthy body. And I switched to the vegan diet. I followed it for over 6 months. I personally felt horrible because I was eating so many grains, so many legumes, which at the time was not great for my body. So then I ended up switching to keto because that was the next fad diet that I had learned about. And eating keto, I felt great for a little bit. Then I started to feel really bad and didn't really realize until later that eating too many fats was not great for my body and for my liver, because my liver has to break down, everybody's liver has to break down all the fats. And then from there, I went on to a Candida diet, which was great for a time, but then didn't work well for me long term. And then I switched to a paleo diet, which again was great, but ended up becoming too high in fat again with all the almond flours and stuff. And I started gaining weight. And so I just literally kept switching diets until I got to now, where I no longer follow a diet. Now I eat clean. So this is what I want to share with you guys. Depending where you are in your health journey, if you are just starting out, if you have major health issues, there's going to be a period of time where you need to follow a specific diet. For example, if you have major fungal overgrowth or major skin issues and you need to get on a pathogen cleanse, for a couple months, you're probably going to have to follow a lower starch diet, which naturally means you'll increase your fats and your proteins and other fibers and things. And then once you're, feeling better, you can kind of wean off that diet and go to a more stabilized diet again. So there are times where a diet is needed temporarily to correct an imbalance or an issue, and then you can kind of get off of it again and resume back to your normal-ish way of eating. So don't want you to think that there's never a time and a place for the different diets. And I do think that, for example, keto diet is really beneficial if you are trying to balance blood sugar and improve, get rid of pathogens, improve your gut. I do think that the paleo kind of low lectin diet can be really beneficial if you have chronic inflammation. And I do think that a plant-based diet might be, or at least a pescatarian diet might be appropriate for you if you are having major gallbladder issues or really difficulty with your stomach and digesting meats. So there's a time and a place, but what I really want to stress here is the fact that, in my opinion and through countless years of research, there's no diet that you should follow forever. You should never be on a diet forever. There's a way of eating, which I'll share with you, that you should want to make it a lifestyle and should kind of try to follow long term. But as far as true diets, whether there's a name like keto, GAPS, paleo, Whole30, whatever it may be, if you're to follow one of these diets, they should be a temporary implementation until your symptoms improve. And then you go back to a specific way of eating that is not following a diet. So that's step number one that I want to push here. The other thing too is I want to also remind you guys to listen to your own body. You will have people tell you, and I tell clients this too, you will have people online and your doctors and your practitioners and family, everybody telling you to follow a certain diet. You have to go keto, or you have to go GAPS, or whatever it is. It's just the best diet out there. And at the end of the day, you should be eating the way that you feel best. So I have some clients, and this really comes down to your genetics and the specific genetic SNPs that you have. For example, if you have fast COMT SNP or slow COMT, that requires different diets for that different person. So everybody's so unique, and it really comes down to genetics. Some people tolerate higher carb diets much better than someone else who can probably have very little carbs, or they just don't feel good. Some people naturally need a higher fat diet and feel fantastic, whereas somebody else might feel really horrible on a high fat diet and actually need a higher protein diet or something else. So at the end of the day, eat the way that you feel best, not the way don't eat the way that makes you feel good in terms of like emotions. So don't stress eat and say, well, I feel happy eating a ton of pizza, so that's what I'm gonna do. But eat the way that your body truly feels its best, where your energy levels are good, your digestion is on point, you're having healthy, regular bowel movements, you're not feeling sluggish or anything in any kind of way. That's the way you truly want to be eating. So also put that in your mind, is don't eat the way other people are telling you. Don't follow a keto diet just because your best friend is, or your mom is, or your sibling. Do what works for you, understanding that there are times where you need to follow a specific diet in order to get over that hurdle of the symptom that you have, but then you back off that diet once you've achieved that, and then going forward you follow a diet that feels good to you. So before I share with you, in my opinion, the way you should be eating, which I will do shortly, I want to share with you a book. So this book, don't mind my terrible nails. I haven't removed my nail polish and it's just kind of flaking off, so I apologize. I'm so busy over here. But this book is called Healthy at 100. This is from John Robbins, How You Can at Any Age Dramatically Increase Your Lifespan and Your Health Span. And this book is absolutely amazing. So why I wanted to share this book, not sponsored, is for a specific reason. So the author of this book and other researchers went through different parts of the world to very remote places in Japan and in Asia, other parts of the world, in Europe. They went to places that are known to have the oldest population. So people who have hit 100 plus, some of them 115 or 120 years old. They analyzed their environment, their lifestyle, and their diet, and compiled it into amazing studies and into an amazing book that shows and kind of breaks down the different older populations in these really remote areas. So these parts of the world that have the oldest population, so the people that lived the longest. They've compiled all this information and kind of broke down their way of eating. And they came up with a conclusion of who actually lived the longest based on their diet. It is a powerful book and really amazing research, and I'm going to share very quickly with you kind of what came out, but at the end of the day, I would love for you guys to just check out this book, read it on your own, because it really goes into detail. Obviously, you take into account these people who have lived so long. You take into account the fact that they're very physical. A lot of them live in mountains and they're doing a lot of climbing and exercising and field work. So obviously, if we're sedentary, which most of our modern world is today, all of us through America, most of us are sitting down at our jobs. We're sitting down watching TV or playing video games and stuff. So if we're sedentary, that's affecting our heart, our cardiovascular health, our blood sugar. It's really affecting our cholesterol. So that's going to take time off of our life. It's going to reduce our lifespan. So keep that in mind as well, that these individuals are very active. We're strictly talking about diet in this video, so that plays a huge role, but the fact that these people lived as long as they did does really come down to the fact that they were very active and healthy in other parts of their life. So just putting that disclaimer out there. But what they found, and what I have found from countless research, it keeps coming back to this one way of eating that is truly, in terms of a lifestyle, the best way to go, in my opinion, again, through research and what this book confirms. And that is the Mediterranean diet. Now, before I continue and explain a little bit further, I do want to stress here the fact that, again, you don't want to be on a diet. When we say the Mediterranean diet, it's not actually a diet. So essentially, it's just eating really clean and whole foods, focusing on a few that are super nutritious. But This is really what you want to be doing. This should be a lifestyle. So when you overcome those health hurdles through following certain diets and then you feel better, going forward, you want to just lead a healthy lifestyle. And at the core of that, it's just eating real healthy whole foods. Whether that is whole, legumes that you have soaked overnight and even sprouted to make it even better, whether that is grains that you've soaked, or whether that's protein, or healthy fats or veggies. At the end of the day, if you are eating real, whole, unprocessed foods, you're good to go. So many people are eating out of packages, packaged chips and nachos and granola bars, and everything that they consume is processed. And that's truly, in my opinion, where the disease process will feed off of and come from, is the fact that we're eating foods that have been so heavily processed, they're depleted and void of all their nutritional value. They are stressing and straining our system because of inflammatory seed oils and all kinds of chemicals. And even if you buy organic or gluten-free, there's still modified cellulose and seed oils and other toxins and chemicals within the food. So if you are minimizing overall processed food and putting a focus on real whole foods, a focus and a big majority of your meal on dense, healthy, like dark leafy greens and fibers and things like that, you are good to go. So that's overall how you want to be eating, is real whole foods. If you're eating real foods grown from the earth, not grown in a lab, not processed in a factory, you're good to go. But to give you a little bit more specifics, the Mediterranean diet has been proven to be the healthiest for cholesterol, for heart health, for brain health, for hormones, and everything else. So I'm going to break it down and give you guys some examples of what you can look into trying to eat if it's right for you. Now, I know some of you obviously ethically are vegan and are not wanting to change that, and that's at the end of the day your decision. If you don't have to eat animal proteins, you eat the way that you feel is best. I'm just sharing info on the healthiest form of a diet based on research. So the Mediterranean diet is really healthy and is really recommended because of a few core things. Number one, it is so rich and dense in vegetables, and specifically your dark veggies like dandelion greens and spinach and kale and parsley, and it's full of fresh fruits like strawberries and berries and pomegranates. You're also getting a lot of fiber. It's really high in like quinoa and bulgur and like certain things that are gluten-based that we don't eat, that I don't eat personally, but you can substitute. But lots of fibrous foods, whole grains and sprouted everything. Everything is going to provide you with fiber, with blood sugar stabilization, with cholesterol balancing. It's also really dense in healthy seafood like salmon and fish, which is full of omegas. And as far as meats go, they don't eat pork. The Mediterranean people don't usually eat pork or any of those acidic and really fatty, high cholesterol meats. They eat lamb or some like beef or something like that, which is again really nutritious, eggs, things like that. So at the end of the day, the diet is rich also in healthy fats. Olive oil is the core of the Mediterranean diet as far as fats go. So they are eating healthy, heart healthy, cholesterol balancing fats instead of eating things like margarine and processed fats that other parts of the world use. When you eat a Mediterranean diet, you are getting a lot of vegetables, you're getting a lot of fiber, lots of fresh fruit, and lots of healthy fats. Some protein, but protein is not the focus. And that's what this book is stressing as well, is that these people that are living forever are not eating a big steak like an American diet includes. Americans have sausage and bacon for breakfast and eggs, and then they have a massive steak for dinner and a burger for lunch. It's all focused around the meat, which meat is nutritious. It's, in my opinion, completely needed and necessary. I know, again, some vegans will disagree, but I do believe just through research that it is needed. And it should not be the focus though. You should not be the staple of your meal, because at the end of the day, the way that humans have been eating, the way that's proven time and time again to be healthy, is to have a focus on whole grains, on fiber, on vegetables, and then healthy, leaner proteins. So coming back to what I was saying, you will never find a piece of steak as a part of a Mediterranean diet. You might find some slow cooked meat baked into it, like roasted into a stew or something like that, but you won't just have slabs of meat, which is harder to break down, is more acidic. And if you're not using an organic grass-fed meat, you're gonna have extra hormones pumped into it and things like that. So the way that you want to be eating is with lots of also things like lemon. The Mediterranean diet is packed with lemon, which is incredible for the liver. It's so rich in beets and things that are amazing for the liver, those bitter vegetables, again, like dandelion greens. So you have liver support, you have gallbladder and cholesterol support with olive oil and lemon. You've got heart healthy nutrients coming from your seafood, like your salmon and your grass-fed meats, and then you have your whole grains providing you with stable carbs to help with the stabilizing your blood sugar. People who eat the Mediterranean diet do overall seem to be the healthiest people, but there's always exceptions, and it really also comes down to, are you sedentary? Are you exercising? What else are you doing to support your health? You can be super stressed out, sitting on your bum all day doing nothing but eating a Mediterranean diet, and that doesn't mean you'll be healthy. When we talk about Mediterranean diet, that way of eating gives you the most nourishment, but you also have to focus on other health aspects as well. Here's a sample of what you could eat following the Mediterranean diet for some healthy nutrition and for stabilized blood sugar and all the other benefits. You can wake up in the morning and you can make yourself, again, if you have no health issues you're currently working on and you just want to maintain your health. Otherwise, you might need to avoid some nightshades and things. So always keep this in mind. But wake up in the morning, have a beautiful breakfast of some maybe fresh yogurt or a little bit like a grass-fed yogurt, some eggs, you'll have some olives, some sliced cucumbers, tomatoes, have a delicious stable breakfast that is rich in protein but not directly from meat. If for a lunch you could do something like a really healthy salad bowl, lots of quinoa and spinach or kale or some sauteed dandelion greens and some sliced tomatoes, and you could put some chicken or some kind of protein over top and a beautiful dressing of lemon and olive oil, salt, pepper, and maybe even a little bit of honey. For dinner, you're talking about some kind of again, nutrient dense meal that includes a lot of greens, maybe some salmon, some healthy fats. For snacks, at least in my family, we would do hummus growing up. I'm Lebanese and Iraqi, so we followed the Mediterranean diet most of my life. So lots of like hummus, and we would obviously back in the day have pita and things, which I no longer consume, but you could use veggies to dip in that instead. You know, for desserts as well, it's something that's light, like a rice pudding, or nothing that is like super dense. So if you're going to be following this diet, of course there's tweaks that you'll need to make. For example, myself, I cut out anything that involves sugar. I don't eat gluten, so obviously I make adaptations where they need to be. But in general, my diet's full of salads and seafood and lots of lemon and olive oil, some whole grains, so just really vibrant eating. There's a lot of amazing Mediterranean cookbooks out there that you can follow, whether it's more Italian-based or more Lebanese-based or Greek, but they're full of nutrients, and that's what I'm trying to stress here. Even yogurts and things, if you're getting a high quality grass-fed, whether it's a sheep yogurt or goat or even cow, it's fine to have if you can tolerate dairy, but it's not something you want to be over consuming. So it's not something that you're going to have constantly. It's more like here and there. Anyway, I hope that this video helped. I hope it gave you a sense of what do I do, because at the end of the day, even the Mediterranean diet might not be right for you if at this time you cannot have legumes. So first, fix your health with whatever diet is needed to get there. If you have major gut issues, you might want to do a GAPS diet or something like that. But once you've done that and you're feeling really good and you're like, how do I go on from here? Do I need to follow a diet the rest of my life? The answer is no. Just eat a diet rich in vegetables, some fresh fruit, lots of whole grains and healthy proteins, lots of healthy fats, vibrant colors, reds and greens and yellows and purples, not just some basic sliced cucumber and carrots, which most people do. So have a lot of color in your diet, which will bring a lot of nutrition, and you should be good to go. But like I said, check out this book, Healthy at 100. It will break it down a lot more and explain a really healthy way of eating. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or even your thoughts, I'd love to hear them down below. So put them in the comments and I will definitely get back to everybody when I have some time. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.